All right, so for those of you who are really into this, and only those of you who are really into this, I want to play a little bit about one other feature of animation. Again, you are glad and it's totally fine for you not to do this. I'm not expecting this. But there's also the ability to move stuff across the screen over time. And that's where the count can come in. That's where the cycle can come in a little bit here as well. So I'm going to leave everything else as it was. I want to do something completely different inside of here, a little bit more advanced logo stuff that's going on. So let's say inside of my logo, we have it right now. Let's say we just wanted something, a big ball to roll up to the house or something like that. I don't know, just something to move across the screen. Well, you know what? I've got another idea here too. So in the logo, we got to draw something. Let's draw a star on the screen here real quick. So we'll create a method here to say private void draw star. Graphics 2D G. All right. And so for that, I want to do g.setColor to be white. And let's do g.fill oval. Let's pass in an int, int x and int y inside of here. And so we're going to go start x, y, and we're going to build something that's just make it 2 by 2, a tiny little pebble of a star out there. All right, and so let's just make sure it's all working here. So g dot draw, nope, this dot draw star, and what's the location of our houses? 240. So let's just start at 10 here and go 240 there, and let's just check it out. So we should have a little white dot over here. Excellent. So we'll have a little white dot. We'll have a little white dot now. What I'm going to have my little white dot do is move from right to left across the screen. All right. So within this, I need in the animation to update the animation of the star each time. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a method here to externalize, like I did this set before, but it's going to be a little bit more active. So public void update stars. Again, I'm not going to do just a general update because things might be updated on a different sequence. My showing the saber is going to be flashing at a different rate that the stars are going to be moving. Let's say I wanted stars and a ship on this. Maybe the stars and the ship moved at different rates or whatnot. So for the star, really what I want to do is I want to have a new set of, and let's just say my star is just moving left or right, just to keep it easy. Private int star x inside of here. So really, I want to draw my star at star x 240. I could do star y, I could do moving across 3 dimensions. It just makes the math more complicated, and that's not in the math class here. But basically, every time we update the star, I want star x is equal to star x plus some number. We'll just say 4. It's going to move 4 pixels across. All right. Now, if star x is greater than, I don't know, the size of the screen, right? The dimension that's inside of here. So I can come back and get that dimension again. I can save it again. It's the easiest answer is just go grab it again here. D dot get width. So if it goes out the right-hand side of the screen, star x is equal to 0. We'll move back to the left-hand side of the screen. So star is just going to keep circling around the screen. All right. So this is the base of the star moving. Now, right now, I'm not moving the star. If I hit and run, the star is still right here. It's still over here in the corner. But I can come back to my animation here. And every time we cycle here, at some point, I can say logo.update stars. And so at that point, when I run it, you see my stars moving across my screen. Now the star is moving across the screen very slowly and a little bit jaggedly. So I got to figure out how I want to make it a little bit more smooth. One of the ways to make animation more smooth is to shrink the jump factor. So I could say, instead of moving in my logo over 4 spaces at a time, I could cut that in half and go 2 spaces at a time. And it's a little bit less jagged right there. But it's also much slower. It's moving half the speed. So the other option I could do is I could speed it up. So I could say, instead of doing it twice a second, do it 20 times a second. And so now it looks much smoother there. It's a little bit of jaggedness, but it's much smoother. But now my lightsaber flashing is going crazy, and also you might have noticed it flew right across my houses. So there's a number of issues as I move this along that I've got to figure out what's going on. So let's start with the lightsaber flashing craziness. That's actually easier to fix. I sped up my speed by 10 times. I can slow down my lightsaber by 10 times by making these numbers 10 times bigger. All right. So I can save that. I can run that. So I have a star going across. And my lightsaber is back to where it was. Now, going across the buildings, again, that's not super desirable. That's just simply remembering the rule that in Java, whatever is drawn last gets drawn on top. So don't draw the star last, draw the star earlier. So we want to draw the black, then we'll draw the star. Oh, we got to set the color to white. Oh, yeah, we did that inside the star. Yeah. So then we draw the star there. All right, so run. Here comes the star. It's moving slowly across. So now it's behind the houses. And it hides for a little bit and keeps going. Now that's one lonely little sad star. It's not super fancy, but I have the foundation by which I can go and build more. Okay, so I'm drawing a single lonely star here. I could create a method where I can draw a bunch of stars, and I can figure out how I want to do those bunch of stars. All right, so at this point, I got to pick some number of stars here. Let's get ridiculously fancy. Let's create an array. So let's just say we want 20 stars. So int array, 2 dimensions inside of there. So we have an XY star map is equal to new int array of, we need to size this. So we have, let's say 20 stars by 2 is the space we want inside of there. And so for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 20, we need to set initial starting positions of our stars, right? Oops, I is equal to 20. I forgot I plus plus. Let's just say star map of I 0, that's the X location, is equal to, let's just spread out the stars somewhat fairly. And so how big was our screen? Let's go back and look at it. Our screen was 600 tall. I'm sorry, 500 wide. So 500 divided by 20 stars, that's 50 divided by 2 every 25. So basically 25 across. We could do this through totally randomness. Maybe we should do totally randomness. And you know what? I'm forgetting a step here. I'm rushing a little bit. Yes, I'm rushing this a little bit. That's okay. We have the moment. Maybe we'll split this into 2 parts now that we're in it. So the star map. So There's math.random. Now, you know what? I want a random number here. All right. I need to set this one in the bounds. And so let's set this in the bounds of actually, to be even better, let's really get fancy inside of this. Oh, okay. So let me roll back for a second here. I'm kind of thinking out loud. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. What I want to do is I want to set up some random stars. I'm giving some XY locations for this. I need to set up the initial positions of the stars. I want to do that randomly across the whole screen. So I'm going to do init stars here, and I don't need this graphics 2D. I'm going to go draw the stars in a second. So I'm going to initialize the stars, and I actually need this here to be an attribute. So I'm going to move this back up top. All right. So there's my star map inside of there. So where's my init stars? And I'm actually going to need to make this public as well. By the way, I need to externalize that method inside, or do a constructor, one way or the other. But I might want to reinitialize that at some point, so I'm actually okay making externalize. So I'm making a star map of 20 stars for now, 2 wide, x and y. So the 0 is the x location. I'm saying an int inside of here, and then I want that dimension inside of here. Again, the dimension is d is equal to this dot get size. All right, and d dot get width. All right, so that's I'm setting a random number for the width, and I'm gonna do the same thing over here. I gotta convert this to an int. Excuse me. I'll explain that in just 1 second. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the y, except for now since it returns back a double, I've got to convert that down to an int and get height. And what's happening here is from this width, I'm going to pick a random number between 0 and the width, random number between 0 and the height, and throw my stars somewhere around my map. So I'm going to initialize a bunch of stars. And so now when I go through and say draw stars, with my graphics 2D object, all I need to do is cycle through each of my stars. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than star map dot length I plus plus. So I'm going to go through and draw the stars. Draw the star for star map of x, which is the 0th spot, star map, of I, x, the 0th spot, and star map of I, 1, which is the y spot. All right, so I'm going to go through and draw each one of the stars. All right, so let's then when I do in my update stars method here, star x is equal to star x plus 2. I actually have to go through the map and update each one of them. So here in update stars, I have to go same logic down here. I'm going to actually copy and paste it just to save a little bit of time. So update stars. Nope. What did I do? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought here. Okay, so I initialize stars, I draw stars. Okay, I need this thing here. So for update stars, yes, that's what I want. And so for each star, I want to do this to it. So we're going to leave the y alone. I don't need to do anything with that. But the star map of the x is equal to the same thing plus 2. right there. And then if it's if this value is greater than the width, and if you're not following along, don't worry, I'm going to share this code and I'll explain it one more time. If it's, oops, I forgot the dimension. I need the dimension one more time. There you go. If it's that, then we'll set it to be 0. All right, so let's see if it's working here. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, I only have my single star. I didn't initialize. I need to go back to my animator. And when I create it, I need to do, sorry, logo dot init stars. There we go. Oh, bound much better. All right, so I'm going to pause here. I'm going to come back. I'm going to explain what I've done so far, and then we're going to debug this. So again, this is the advanced version of this. You're not expected to do any of this, but I want you to see what it's like to get a little bit crazy with some of this stuff and having a little bit of fun with this.